Hey. Welcome to all my new subscribers. I'm glad to have you here. All of my Essene friends that I met this year at the gathering. I know a lot of you have subscribed. How's it going? It's great to be here. Great to be alive, right? So let's get going now. We're going to talk about a piece from the last video, just real quick, because Gahwenjahman held up an Alef mirror and defeated this red dragon, which I'm telling you, these are keys and tools and even weapons that we can use in this time, because it's a reason for it to be written, right? In Appendix 1, when we read about the red dragon too, and the 7th act of Gahwenjahman. This is a really important appendix. We're going to read from it again today, the 7 spiritual precepts of Gahwenjahman. But first, I wanted to read this part about him holding up this mirror. It says that in verse 328, this is wizardess Bithya. She says, "As the red dragon raised its claws to strike me, lo, Gahwenjahman raised a magical Alef mirror in front of me." So Alef is the Nasarean word for elf, okay? And so a magical elf mirror. In the Nasarean, we're taught that the Alef were the very first creatures created from the dance of creation. And that's why they have the A in front of their name, and that they have never fallen. No Alef has ever fallen, okay? So he raised up a magical Alef mirror in front of me. Upon seeing its own reflection, the red dragon disappeared with a scream of horror. This was the horror of seeing himself as he truly is, for that was the magic of this mirror. So I just have this open to read this really little quick thing, and then hopefully you guys will look this up for yourself. This is from Brother Day. He had talked about it a couple of gatherings ago. He had us reading some of it. It's interesting. I haven't finished reading it, but it says here, 1, 2, 3 surface mirrors are symbols of the physical, astral, and mental mirror worlds. A crystal globe of the spiritual mirror. The spiritual mirror is the world of creation. The mental world, the world of emanation from creation. The psychic world mirrors reflections of emanations and of reflections of itself. The physical world is the reflection of reflection. Yeah, it sounds like a tongue twister, but it's really trying to wrap your mind around this. Look, this was written in 1909, and it's good. A mirror is the symbol of illusion. So symbols is a whole language within itself. And this isn't what we're going to read about today, but I just wanted to show you that because he held up that magic mirror and make you start thinking about what is a mirror, right? Do your research. There's a lot of information. And these are all of the things that were sparked in my mind when I read this story of the red dragon, and how Gahwenjahman said that normally you would need a golden dragon, Abraham or Sarah, to help you, to defend you, to intervene on your behalf if you're going to be attacked by one of these red dragons. But he foresaw that that was going to happen, and he received a magical mirror that morning. So let's get into it, because it's his language that is talking about these group realities. Verse 1, I, Bithya, said to Gahwenjahman, old friend and venerable teacher, may I have your blessings to write a scroll titled Teachings and Acts of Gahwenjahman, as witnessed by Bithya the wizardess. If so, I request your input on the format of the scroll. This scroll is for inclusion in the new edition of the Holy Megillah that is being prepared by Sarah Jalil. Gahwenjahman smiled, then replied, Nebiah told me that she put you up to this, and since she is a very dear friend, and foresaw that you would write this scroll, I would not want to spoil her prophecy. I will point out, though, that this is a perfect example of how some prophecies or foreseeings are just as accurately called conjurings. Okay? He says, I suggest that the format be as follows. Select 7 spiritual precepts, concise spiritual teachings that you have heard me speak, 7 questions you have heard me answer, and 7 actions that you have witnessed me perform. The questions can have been asked by yourself or others. He says, is this format to your liking? And Bithya said, it was indeed to her liking, and the result is what follows. Okay, so listen closely. It's nice, short, and sweet. 7 spiritual precepts of Gahwenjahman. And this is the part that made me think about the Lord of the Rings. Okay, and Gahwenjahman is an Alef. He's an elf. So here we go. And this picture up there, I don't know if that's how Gahwenjahman looks, but it just seemed appropriate, right? Number 1 of the 7 spiritual precepts of Gahwenjahman is quality, in the sense of relative excellence. He says quality is generally more precious than quantity. The operative word in the above sentence is precious. Quantity is often every bit as important as quality in a given situation, and sometimes it is a more appropriate or more effective factor in or necessary precursor of progressively evolving quality. Even so, it is not as precious. Try to manifest an appropriately high degree of quality in everything you think, do, and say, and I tell you truly, your quality of life will be increasingly precious, and it will multiply itself in progressively greater quantity for the ultimate good of all beings. Number 2, the highest quality is merciful kindness. Nothing else is as precious. Number 3, the highest quality of the mind is self-chosen service to supernal love. Nothing else is as powerful. Number 4, the highest quality of existence is spiritual evolution in supernal love. Nothing else leads to conscious bliss in beingness. Number 5, a very high quality of sexuality is that it is creative, and that creative power is expressed inwardly and outwardly in many ways. Let each of these expressions serve supernal love that is precious indeed. Number 6, a very high quality in the expression of personal freedom is appropriate self-restraint. Without it, there is much pain. And number 7, the highest quality of time is eternal now. Anything else could have an end. Thank goodness that Sat Chit Ananda is not other than eternal now, since you are that, and are thus truly precious. Yeah, this is exciting. Made me think of Lord of the Rings. We're talking about elves and this word precious. How many times did he say it? 7. Now that's just a quick count because we're recording, but I think he said the word precious 7 times in these 7 spiritual precepts. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. Like I said, this is from page 1070. And we're about to jump over and read a little bit from the Holy Godspell Chapter 30. Where we have Ya'ara. She was a child of 7, and she was playing in the woods near her home. Then behold, Aaronites attacked, killing her Nasarean family and burning the home. Then little Ya'ara fled into the deep woods and lived with the creatures of the forest for many years. Okay, and it says here that the night before she met Miriam, an Alef revealed himself to her. saying, Ya'ara, I am Gahwenjahman of the Alefim of the Tree of Life, a sacred order founded before this world was born. Okay, yes, because that A, I tell you, it means one of the first creatures. He said, I am also of the Alefim of the deep forest meadows, an order of Alefim that interacts with select humans in this world. Okay, so they're called the Circle of Ali Friends. It's a circle of kindred spirits who dance with the Alefim in the forest of this and other worlds. Yes, that's why the whole Lord of the Rings thing is a poison program, because it wants to put anything in our heads except the truth. Let me jump over there real quick. Let me make sure I'm screen sharing the right screen. Okay, yes, because this program tells us that this, well, he's a hobbit sees. Remember, he's not a elf, but it does tell us that they were the only creatures in this movie that could handle this one ring. The one, of course. And pay attention, because most of the things that are really good and positive have been given a dark definition. Remember, it was the ring that turned these guys bad, the precious. And so I'm just connecting that in the Megillah we have an elf from a race who has never fallen, telling us that we are precious. And now you have this whole program of this fallen creature, and he fell in some, I ain't gonna tell the whole story here, but we're about to get out of here. I just want you to see the connections so that we can begin to really truly understand what is going on here, how we have manifested in our minds this reality and our part in it, because it's time to stop all of this and to put in the good, true teachings, and so that we can begin to be creators of light, love, and liberty, for real, from these vices and these technologies, because that's what else I want to talk about. So there's definitely going to be a part 2 to this. I wanted to read his conversation that he had with Maor, and something from this White Wizards and Group Realities, but that's gonna have to come on the next video. I appreciate you guys being here, but this is really deep, this is where it's like grown-up talk, where it was time to take responsibility for what is happening in your life and maybe in some of the lives of other people, because of the things that we have grown in this garden world, starting with what's growing in our minds and our, so alright, I'm gonna get on out of here. I got so much to say, but we'll say it in the next video. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned.